Looking forward to today's broadcast, everyone. Your brother from another mother doing a weekday live, taking on some more questions. I am rolling up my sleeves as high as I can roll them to dig into what's been sent into me and navigate through it. Welcome, everyone. I almost let out a nice big welcome and nothing came out because I had the microphone muted, was getting a bunch of technical things happening here to get everything ready. Of course, living by faith with a soundboard that I can have a lot of fun with, but
sometimes she real temperamental, y'all know what I'm saying? So I'm keeping my eye over here and over here, your comments over here, and the audio level over there to make sure this is going to be working, because otherwise I'm going to have to slap this soundboard with a chancleta, if you know what I'm saying.
So anyway, looking forward to having some fun here with many of the questions that get into many areas of our life and our journey. There's a lot here, more than I could get to in a day, but you never know. With superpowers and a little bit of afternoon bulletproof coffee. I've got my son's. Now, let me give you. This is Max's mug. Dun, 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 with a bulletproof mixture, and it is a decaf. I have one caffeinated coffee in the morning, and that's it. Don't need any more stimulants throughout the day. But I do appreciate a good bulletproof mixture, and I have a variety of recipes that I love and I enjoy. So welcome to all of you in the chat. Somebody had asked, is this going to be shown later? Yes, it will. You can replay it later so you don't get in trouble at work. And I know some of you are asking for it. Before I get into these questions, we got to get our blood flowing here. All right? Yes. Under the blood. Jesus cover me. Let's get this Q&A warmed up here. Under the blood. Jesus, you will cover me under the blood. In the morning when we wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood. Under the blood. This ought to wake you up. Jesus cover me. Jesus, you will cover me. Say under the blood. Under the blood. Jesus, you will cover me. Jump on bass. Jump on bass. Listen. Christian a fight some things where them not see. Stronghold demons and principality. Remember they are the temple. Keep it holy, sanctified, justify, give God the glory. Fighting against three terrible enemy. The world, Satan and myself against me. One the anointing, pour it on me and make me trample the devil on it. Say, under the blood. Under the blood. Under the blood. Jesus cover me. I'm officially ready to do this, folks. So hope you enjoy that.
If you want to look where that's at, you literally spell Unda de blood, and you can spell it phonetically, and you'll find it. Somebody asked me about the other one that I often play. I forget the name of it, but if you this one here that goes into this clip. Yeah, those brothers got it going on. I forget what it's called to get that, but I think if you type in original crazy church dance, I think is how I found it. But there's a guy named Jeremiah Yoakum. That brother with his gets all high. Man, that boy got some pipes. Jeremiah Yoakum. You can look him up. Go give his YouTube feed some hits there. Click like on it or whatever. So. Good stuff here. Please do me a favor. Click that like and subscribe button and click on that little bell. Ring my bell. If you could click that would help a lot, because from time to time, like today, I said, you know what? I'm going to follow up. I had some thoughts from the last live and said, let me do a part 2, get into this a little bit more. So I was able to carve out a window here to jump into doing a live. So that'll notify your phone. And I think it even can send you an email if you want it to. Those of you that are on YouTube, I'm not sure how it works on Rumble, but great to have you all here in the live. And those of you that are watching later on afterwards, pray this is a blessing to your journey. Going to get into a lot of stuff here. Like I said, rolling up my short sleeves as high as I can to get into this. You can always send in questions. Mark to jesus.com/questions. Let me just make an adjustment here with my streaming software. Yeah, let's do that. That's overdriving. That's okay. Let's start off and get right into this. This is a subject about radical acceptance. Hey there, Mark. Hope you're feeling better. I am. Thank you very much. I keep seeing things on OCD Instagram accounts. Okay, all right, here we go. We're getting into social media, chatting about OCD. Okay, about radical acceptance, which essentially means you just accept 100% that you have OCD and everything that comes with it. Well, you have to tell me what you mean when you say everything that comes with it. When you probably mean the battle, the anxiety, the struggles, the black and white thinking. You kind of release any blame or shame off yourself because you realize it's a medical condition. All right, can I break down that sentence a little bit? Before I get into that, I don't know why we got to call it radical acceptance. Why does it have to be radical? Why can't we be compassionate witnesses of grace? Why can't we be gentle? Why does it got to be radical? I got radical love. I'm radical. See, radical has a sense of a fight and intensity versus God isn't, in his love, isn't stressing. He's not angrily trying to win battles. He's very much at peace, and he's not trying to put fear on you, trying to stress you out. So while I can agree with the sense of what they're talking about with radical acceptance, I do also know there's a purveying thought in the world that goes like this: just accept because love is love. How many of you hear that? Just accept because love is love. And the world is latching on to many helpful terminologies and things and creating their own interpretation of it. So you have to be discerning in life. And I'm a person like, what do you mean by that? I ask people that a lot. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by what you're saying? Because I like to get a little bit of just clarity, understanding where people are coming from. There is a sense in the world where acceptance, loving acceptance, means that you say everything you're doing is okay. And that's not, loving someone does not mean you say everything they're doing is okay, right? So I have to kind of get that out of the way, because this is what I have a couple subjects that created confusion in people, and it just is what it is. One of them is the subject of self-acceptance, which means you compassionately and lovingly accept where you are in your in your battles, the goofiness that you struggle with. Because love is first. Love is first and foremost, because in relationship we're changed, right? We go to change first. Change us. So the second subject people have a difficult time with is the one that I talk about a lot, about loving yourself, because there's a lot of misinterpretation about what that even means. Many have been taught, well, you already love yourself, so this is not a subject we need to talk about. And I could take any human being off the street, in your church, and I could show you how much love is actually absent in how they talk about themselves. And anyone who does psychological work, you want to say people really love themselves? Now, our interpretation is if people draw attention to themselves, they love themselves. If they're selfish, they love themselves. No, that's not love. Love is meant to be received from God, said yes and amen to it, and given out as a flow. Love is a flow. Right? I love you with the love that God has given me. And I learned to love God by how I love you. I learned to love you by how I've learned to receive love from God. And I see myself through that love. So many OCDers especially, they get hung up on terminology. And so some say, well, loving yourself's a little difficult. So I say self-compassion. Fine, whatever you guys say. But when I wrote the book, God Loves Me and I Love Myself, there was a intentional, I'm going to cut through this and go, doggone it, I'm going to love myself with the love God has for me. And I actually loved myself out of some very dark places. And if you're in a dark place, in a dark season of your life, love's going to be the remedy. But when you're in a dark place, you push away love. Okay, so got to mention that about radical. Why does it got to be radical? And I do understand the world's definition of things. I'm not living by the world's definition of things, okay? And I give you permission to not have to live by the world's definition of things. Now, if they say those terminologies and you have if your counselor uses it, don't fuss over, if you have a counselor who's not a Christian, and you're going to see a counselor and they're using some of those terms, like take the meat and don't fuss over terms or things like that. Don't let it get in the way of just healthy processing of your emotions. Because Christians have a long history of not knowing what to do with their emotions. Long history. This isn't just now. It goes back to the medieval days. It goes back to biblical time. People have been struggling with how to deal with their emotions since the beginning. And so that's why I spend so much time on it, because we need some learning. Okay, so you said in what you've been told, accept 100% you have OCD. Okay, yeah, accept it. Accepting it doesn't mean you're going to be this way for the rest of your life. In fact, the more you process love, the more it actually brings about transformation to how you think and how you feel and how you behave. So you kind of release any blame. Okay, blame isn't helpful at all, period. Blaming yourself, blaming God, blaming other people is a shame response. And that doesn't bring any healing. Now, we have a tendency to do that. In our pain, we look for someone to blame. Blame this person, blame that person, then we get upset, then we blame God, then we're left blaming ourselves. It produces a lot of anger. And I did a video years back on being angry at God and talked about the shame factor. And there's many people that didn't understand it. They don't understand how shame impacts them. And that's all right. Everybody's on their journey. But when you don't see things through shame, it lessens anger. Do you know that? You're less angry at other people, you're less angry at yourself, and you're less tempted to be angry at God when shame's out of the picture. When shame is there, it pushes an angry mechanism because there's a sense of blame. Now, we take responsibility for where we're at and where we're going, right? But we don't do in this blame-shame thing. Okay, so let me look at your sentence again. Do you release any blame or shame off of yourself? Important. Because you realize it's a medical condition. I do have a bit of a problem with how we take mental health and we go, this is a medical condition, because it isolates it. And there's a subconscious meaning to that. It's a medical condition, therefore I need medication. That's where the hypnosis of society goes into. This is a diet. I have clinical depression. That's different than regular depression. And so I look at OCD and go, this isn't just about, is it a medical condition? This is about a lot of things. How you think, how you relate to God, how you relate to yourself, how you relate to other people around you. This is a whole, we go medical. It's like, oh, it's just this thing. And if I take medication or do this, problem solved, right? That's how we tend to think about things. And I'm going to do a broadcast on medication at some point. I'm not condemning anyone who's on it. Okay. There's nuance to these battles and struggles. So I'm just kind of breaking down your sentence. So you realize, okay, I'll go further on. So you realize, okay, I have OCD, and that comes with these specific behaviors and thoughts. Yeah. I would say a certain kind of struggles and distortions. So certain distortions you realize, and that helps you to go, oh, when I'm reading my Bible and I go, ah, you go, okay, some of those distortions kicking in. All right, I'm not seeing things the way I see them. That's part of understanding your journey. You come along yourself, come along and stand by yourself. I'm trying to finish a sentence. Versus being hostile to yourself. Because most people in their mental health struggles, you become an enemy to yourself. You leave yourself hanging and you detach from yourself. And you go, when am I going to get over this? When am I going to get healed by next week? And that doesn't help you connect to love. And it doesn't help you heal. Okay. I'm just accepting this is how it is. It's not my fault. Okay, we're in fault again. It's not about fault. It's not my fault or in my control. Now, are we talking about control issues? You got to let go of control issues. Yep. Or it's not in my control. That seems like you communicate. You can't do anything about it. No, you can do something about it. You can learn. You can get help. You can be teachable. And you can choose where you're going to point your compass. That's very empowering. Okay, you say it's not really about leaning into the OCD or giving into it. Excellent. But rather giving up on the idea that you can heal it. I don't know that I would give up on healing, that you can't be renewed. You say give up. It's rather give up on the idea that you can heal it, get rid of it, fight it, etc. Now, there's a lot of people that they wear their mental health problem as a badge. And it's this impenetrable badge. It's like, this is who I am. This is it. That's not powerful, loving acceptance. Loving acceptance says, this is what I struggle with. And that takes that into context on my journey. So here's some things I struggle with. That the person who walks by a bar because they're an alcoholic, another person may not. They can walk by the bar and not have a thought or craving or anything and be fine. So the person with OCD, then certain areas, they have battles and struggles. Does it mean that you can overcome? Yes. But healing is a journey. So I don't communicate this like finished, you're past it, and OCDers are notorious for that. I want to get past this so I can get back with my life. I go, yep, call me back in 6 months and let me know how that's going. Instead of embracing a journey. So do I still have areas that I'm working through? Yeah. I've had some, even in this past month, some areas of just some painful memories and things I was working through and just learning to process them in new ways because of the tools I teach and live by. I was able to work through them. Wasn't afraid of them. Do I have an intrusive thought show up? Sure. But I got equipping to handle it now. Do I have bad days? Yes. So a healed life doesn't look like you just don't have any battles. I think that's one of the things we're trying to look for. We're trying to look for a lifestyle where we have muscles, but we don't go to the gym anymore. And we don't have to work out. So there are habits and mindsets I utilize every day of my life. I don't go, I'm just going to take a day off and just kind of go into autopilot. I have mindsets that I apply. Now, many of them are in muscle memory now. Loving acceptance has become a part of muscle memory. So I see things as they are. So I can now decide, now what? Rather than being in this obsessive fix-it mode, obsessive, got to make myself feel better. Okay, I might feel sad. I'll let myself feel sad and work through it. I don't have to stay stuck in it. I don't have to park there. I can just let it work through. So it's not giving up the idea that you can't heal, that you can't improve. In fact, OCD is something you can very much improve, but you got to be teachable. You got to be teachable because the principles of working through OCD at first, you feel like you're going in the wrong direction. And it takes time for you to realize what's really going on and what's happening. Y'all get me? Y'all get me? So that's what's up. That's what's happening. I'll keep an eye out for super chats if y'all put any. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to stick to the ones that were sent in here. Let me see if check my stream quality here. I think we're all right. Everything's working just fine. Excellent. Excellent. Good to see you in the chat in both Rumble and in YouTube. Okay, this one's about sanctification and condemnation. Hi, Mark. I'm in a season of many trials and tribulations. Recently, God has been Okay, here we go.
Oh, I hear God speaking. I'm about to be up on this one right here. God told me. Here comes the God told me. I'm about to tell you what God is telling you.
Recently, God has been speaking about how it is a season to be sanctified by fire. Usually when people say that, they usually mean there's hard things God is saying to them, and he's like just beating them down, and it's hard, and I gotta work, and
because God is speaking to me, and this is a real deep trial.
Yeah. I encourage you to go back into Peter's writings about when you're going through trials. Don't sit there and wonder, this is some strange thing I'm going through. We do that. God, what's the meaning? What's this thing that's happening? You're going through stuff. Jesus said in this world, you're going to have trouble. You have stuff that you're going to go through. You're going to have resistance. You're going to have pain. You're going to have heartache. You're going to have a whole spectrum of things. Don't super read into it. Don't go, well, I feel like mine's worse than them, all that stuff. Just saying, okay, I haven't gotten into the question yet, so I'll focus. Focus, Daniel-san. He's been speaking about how it is a season to be sanctified by fire, Daniel 3. Purify my faith, 1 Peter 1, and get rid of strongholds. I feel the religious perfectionism coming up. I feel it. However, there is a layer of condemnation over this. I would guess there's probably a lot of condemnation all over this. You are, and here's the message. You are so messed up. This is in quotes. I'll hold my fingers up while I'm saying the quote part. You are so messed up that this hardship is what God requires to change you. Man, that's you have a heavy punishment-based relationship with God. Here's God again. None of your friends have these trials because they are already refined and not as messed up as you. This is all lies. Not only is this condemnation, this is just straight up lies. This is unbiblical. It's unbalanced, unhealthy. So we got to take this whole thing. Forgive me because I'll try to get to the point. I'm kind of going quick in this. We need to toss this out. About this heavy thing, you got to get rid of all your strongholds. You got to purify your faith. Those are principles that are good. You go through the fire, and the fire sanctifies us. Yes. You go through a trial, and you learn. When you go through a trial of any kind, if you learn, you're being refined. Plain and simple. You learn to respond differently. You learn to get, anyway, any words such as sanctification and purity trigger condemning thoughts. You sound obsessive too. Until you learn the love of God, you won't understand sanctification. Until you learn grace, you won't understand sanctification. It'll all go condemning, all go legalism, and you'll be afraid of God, and you'll do these compulsive rituals and fasting and surrender and this and that, and I got to be all in. I got to do this and that, and you'll get lost in spinnies. How do I get rid of this condemnation layer to be empowered in this season? Sanctification. So can we just ratchet down a bit? This season is sanctification. We're all in seasons all the time of being sanctified. There is no season of sanctification. We're being sanctified all the time. We're being set apart from who we are not all the time. It's never like this is a season. Now we have seasons of trials where things intensify, and James says, "Count it all joy," and none of us do that well. No one does that well. It's a pretty high mark. It's like, wow, count it all joy? How am I going to count this all joy? But there's still a, hold on a second. So it's got to let yourself just go through the journey. I feel like you're overreading what the season is, like you're overanalyzing what the season. A lot of charismatics, Pentecostal, signs and wonders, leaning people, prophetic, is they're obsessed about the season they're in. I got to figure out the season. So you talk to them, how you doing? Doing good. I'm in a season. And that's a first sign that they're in that kind of stream. What how things going? I'm in a season where, and they describe it, their headlines, season of change, learning to lean on him and cast my cares on him. I'm being sanctified. Long headline. Okay, let me move on. I'm staying too long in the question, but y'all like it. Y'all like these trails. I believe you do. I lack nurture from a father. I think this is where it's going. Mark, I am a 25-year-old female. So your brain is just forming at 25. Before then, it's just a roller coaster. And I don't think by 25, I think my brain started forming in my 30s, to be honest. I have both mother and father wounds that are very severe and emotional neglect as a child. I lacked a lot of nurture. I'm lacking, especially from a man. I have close girlfriends from whom I receive nurture, but I deeply crave that male nurture and affection. Well, at least you recognize it. I have no way to receive it due to broken family relations and no partner. Can I just say this too? A lot of people who write about boyfriend, girlfriend, this partner word. Can I just rant about the partner word? Stop calling people partners. That's a LGBT word that they use. You stop calling people partners. It's like a vague word for relationship. Vague. It's like a vague, like we're partners. Vague. It's my boyfriend. It's my girlfriend. It's my fiance. It's my husband. It's my wife. That helps give us clarity and where we're going. This partner is like this vague, like it used to mean we say my partner was like a business partner, somebody I was partnering in business, right? But it's a vague term. Partner's vague. Like, what does it mean? Does it mean what was that committed? Or what are you partnering in? Who's the partner? Where's the partnering doing? Just say what it is. This is where we're at. And that'll help a lot of you with commitment issues, OCD issues, relationship issues, right? It's my girlfriend. Yeah. How long have you been dating? This long, right? This is my fiance. Right? This is my wife. Speaking of, you here, hon? Oh, you got to ear up? I got to ear up. Put your ears on and give me a thumbs up and I'll bring you in. I'm talking about partners. Oh, please. Partner. My partner. And partner is a trigger word for me.
Identity.
I don't have your mic on just yet. Oh. Yeah. So you can comment on it when you jump in. But anyway, just laying that out. Like it's these terms we use. Okay. Going back to your question, I have no way to receive it. The assumption you're giving me is that, okay, you have father wounds, so you need to find a man. You have mother wounds, you need to find women. No. That's not where it starts. Where it starts is recognizing, God, you are a father. And I need to learn how to relate to you as a father and learn what a good father is. And in that, in my relationship world, I want to just be aware that I can have good interactions to practice with brothers and sisters, right? And if there's no brothers in your circle of friends or people you hang out with, it's not like I got to go find a man to look to hear. That's, or even to women, I got to look to you. I have a friend who nurtures me. And now you're making people a source in an unhealthy way. And even secular psychologists could point out it could lead you to be codependent. It's an inside job to let that healing and recovery happen. If you have severe father and mother wounds and emotional neglect, it'd be good to do some reparenting concepts, learning how to reparent yourself. And you have to develop a more fruitful relationship with yourself because you'll depend on people in an unhealthy way. You say, I have... Okay, I have identified a wound and a need, a lack of male nurture and affection, but I have no way to meet it. Right? The answer is not going to find a man. That's not the recommendation. Even if it's what a man, what a mighty good man, still not gonna heal. I've prayed and received no answer to prayer. What does that mean, by the way? I prayed and I received no answer to prayer. God, I want to talk to a man.
No, I will not let you talk to men.
You know, I don't know what it means. I don't think that's the is that the God voice or
Is this the
God voice? Is this the
God voice?
I think it might be
This is the God voice.
a little bit too
Indigestion kind of thing going on.
what our expectations of prayer are interesting. God, I need to meet people. I don't hear anything. You know. So let's kind of like, you know, you pray, God, help me to have good relationships and bring, I'm lonely, I like some relationships in my life. I really long for a friend. And you should be open. And then be a good friend to people. Be someone who shows himself friendly, right? How do I remain patient in this suffering? Ooh, now we're calling this suffering. Do we have to call this suffering? Because your suffering is your woundedness from childhood. That's where your suffering is. So I gave you some feedback on how to deal with that. That has already lasted my whole life. Can I expect marriage to heal this wound? That's a big no. Please don't. Y'all that are lonely think marriage is going to heal you. Oh, there's nothing more interesting and more painful, I should say, than someone who's lonely who then thinks marriage is going to solve it, and now they're with somebody and lonely because they thought that was going to heal. Now, you got to learn how to relate to yourself in a new way. Reparent yourself. Look that up. If you need something to kind of help the way, I just found the ACA Red Book. You know, it's for adult children of alcoholics. And really, that's for anyone who's got addictions in the family or it's been, you know, severely neglected. There's good things they talk about there. I don't have to agree with every sentence, but you have to learn the process of reparenting yourself. When you became born again and said yes to God, Jesus said, "You are now born again. Start all over. Start over. You're a little baby again, little kid again. Start over." So many of you watching this, did you give yourself a chance to start over? And maybe that's what you need today. Let's go, you know what? Let me just start over. Let me learn what it means to be a kid and learn what it means to just be loved and grow up in that. And as you grow into your teen years spiritually and your adult years spiritually, you develop greater resilience and all that. You know, and you go into the further things of understanding. Since my wife's here, I'll play her dance break. I'm going to take a dance break, and I'll be right back. Want to take a moment and address super chats. But I also want to bring into the picture my lovely, amazing wife, Melissa.
Hey. Oops, Mike.
You know what? I don't have...
Listen, it's a sweatshirt, ponytail kind of day.
You know what? Your lights...
Hey, babe, is Rumble working?
Last I checked, it is. Are you guys... I see...
Okay, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's freezing. It's frozen. No, okay, now it's back. Oh, okay.
Are your lights on?
I don't feel like...
No, right here. These two.
No, this one isn't. This just went on.
Okay, let me try.
I don't know that we need to highlight how horrific my hair looks, but that's all right.
Oh, my love. I'm just making sure your lights are on.
Thanks.
Because I can add those ones.
Yeah, no, it's good. Let me just tell you that I was, our day's been a little bit crazy today. And as I was gathering my things to come in here, I don't know if any of you have ever done this, but I hit the side button on my iPhone and called emergency services. You did that one. Remember when you did that one time? Yeah, and I saw it calling it. I'm like, oh no, that's all we need. So, anywho, I stopped it, and hopefully, so the kids are like, they're not going to show up at the house, are they? I'm like, oh, let's hope not.
Right. Yeah, I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to fix your light there. I don't know.
It's fine, babe. Whatevs.
Why not? Why it's not turning on? That's all.
Whatever.
It's all good. All good in the hood. So I got a super chat. I think that was a couple.
Yes. Before the super chat, though, can I just, as I was yelling when you were talking about the partner thing?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
People, we cannot stand that. Give your person an identity.
Yeah.
Make them.
Yeah. Make it clear.
Make them legitimate.
Yeah.
Make them, because if you are concerned enough to write an email about said partner,
That's funny.
If you're concerned about your relationship with said partner, make them your said wife or said husband, okay?
Or said a fiance
or something. Yeah, make it a commitment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what did you ask me, babe? Oh yeah, super chats. Let me go up.
Yeah. I'll jump into that.
It looks like there's two of them. Do you want me to read one now and then?
I see it there.
There's two.
Yep. Yeah, I see it. Let me pull it over here. Hi, Mark. I've had this is.
Oh no, babe. Oh wait.
No,
there's three.
Goju.
Yep, that's the first one. Go for it.
Hey, Mark. I've had partial victory before, but relapse. That's all right. So you have victory. You step forward. You step back. A lot of times, what people say is like going backwards is really, it's really about going forward in deeper ways. It really is. But we often make it. The terminology we use is more like I'm going backwards, and that just becomes more defeating and it's more condemning versus I'm going deeper. I think I grasp the problem is an illusion. Correct. I'm learning to be loved. How do I stop disqualifying myself? You got to learn to have a better relationship with yourself. Do you know I actually have a chapter on unworthiness in my book, God Loves Me and I Love Myself. That's what I'd encourage you to go through that. You're learning how to have a better relationship with yourself. Let's see. Chase Langland, if I said your name wrong.
I think you did
okay.
good.
How would you help a religious OCD person who has
Well, we have this problem with our son.
Asperger's
Slightly, yeah.
syndrome, autism. It is actually in
Oh, you have a question in there?
my list. Yeah. Oh, you wrote to me. You wrote to me. So, because you wrote in the question, due to the notorious way a person with Asperger's, I like to say Aspergers syndrome, has a hard time deciphering emotions. How would you go about coaching them through their healing journey? Well, when you meet someone who's, whether it's any form of the autism spectrum, whether it's high functioning, low functioning, whatever it is, or what's known as Asperger's, you have to meet the person where they're at. When people talk to me about autism, if you've seen one autistic kid, you've seen one autistic kid. It's not like a formula that you just kind of establish that do this, this, and this, and this. So it's first I would develop relational credibility, meaning relational rapport of what is the person like? What is the person interested in? What is the person, and so you meet them at where they're at in that communication. So for example, I'm learning, if you were to follow me as a dad, you'd see a lot of trial and error when I talk to Max, our son. I'll even in our Bible, we have our home church time, and I'm teaching something. I look at him and I go, he's not getting it, and I try to think of another way to say it. And sometimes Max likes straight facts, black and white. Many times, people who struggle with emotions, they see things in black and white. A lot of OCDers have these kind of, they have that tendency to see so much in black and white, especially in areas they get all disturbed about. So sometimes I use that to my advantage. And you could, like with someone with on the spectrum, you could be like, okay, anxiety is just not from God. Don't ever listen to it. And you can be very black and white sometimes and use that to a helpful advantage in empowering them. Then you also, there's aspects where I tell stories and Max gets the story, but he didn't get the straight concept. So I just recently, as a part of my kids' homeschool work, I have them go through a teaching series that I did. And one of them that's really important, I just had them go through, it's a longer series, is breaking limitations off your life. I wanted them to go through it step by step. I talk about self-pity, victim mindset, foreboding. I want you to take notes on it, develop outlines. I want you to hand it in. And then I sit down with them and I ask them questions. We go through, tell me what you learned. So I went through it with Max last night. And this was a case where I didn't feel like he was getting the straight concept. I had to work with him on like, what is foreboding? What is self-pity? What is he kind of got it, but then he kind of got I could tell you he got a little lost. But in this case, he understood the stories. He's like, when you shared this, that was really good. I got that.
Well, he told me too when, because in his homeschool area, I sit next to him and do work in the morning, and there was several times where he gets up and he does that first thing after he does his little exercise, his treadmill, and he was not crying, but he was emotional, and he turned to me and he's like, Mom, Dad, this is really good how Dad teaches this. Like he was really getting it. So he has those moments where he emotionally connects, and then other times where that's a good assessment.
Yeah, and he even said I cried a few times.
Yeah, he did.
And that was great. And I was trying to get from him like which parts. So most people learn well, spectrum, no spectrum, learn best in stories anyway. And we just do. We hear a story, and that's how Jesus taught. They'd ask him a question, and he'd go, a certain man, and he would talk in parables and talk in things, because in the story there's multifaceted meanings we can gain from it. But my point being is that you gotta have patience. Don't rush through. Take your time and meet the person where they're at. So to me, my philosophy in coaching somebody in my work versus with a mental health battleground, someone who's not on the spectrum versus someone who is, my approach is still the same. You meet them where they're at, develop rapport, and you learn what works with this person's learning. Some people are more visual learners. Some people are audio. Audio? And then there's kinesthetic? Whatever all those, Right? Did I get that?
Yeah.
Audio, visual. Yeah. That's why I try to create resources in all three formats, audio, written, and video, so that I try to at least hit the different wavelengths of how people learn, So those are some things that takes care of
our favorite person
of that question.
Our favorite name in the world sent a super chat.
John Apiccinati.
He said, John, if you ever get sick of that, just tell us. He said, thank you. I was glad I was able to catch a few minutes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I know people are going about their day today. That's all right. It's all good. All right, let me get into this one's called Numbness, Resistance to God. We'll have to see what I didn't get some of these I looked at quickly, but hi Mark, if you've given yourself over to occultist thinking, okay. This is most likely going to be an OCD question. Have given up your love. This is definitely an OCD question. And are now fighting against God with your OCD. Okay, let's start this. You're not. Okay? You're not. You think you are, but you're not. You're not. Is it possible to let God in anymore? You're asking me a question based off of something that's not true. No. You've not given yourself over to occultist thinking. You have not given up on your love. You're not fighting against God. You're probably just so overburdened with intrusive thoughts that are hitting you that you're trying to fight off and fight off and fight off. And the more you fight it off, the more you're tired you're getting. So then you finally go, that thought, I remember an intrusive thought that I have. I've shared this before. I had an intrusive thought and I didn't know it was an intrusive thought. I thought it was a thought that I really believed, that I was accidentally asking Satan into my heart. And so that thought would play, and every time it would come in, oh, no, I did it weird. I try to do all these things to it, right? Just because you interpret something in a certain way doesn't mean it's necessarily true, ladies and gentlemen. So you're giving me a scenario and asking a question based on that scenario that has a false interpretation. So we're just going to get rid of all that. God is here right now. Just say yes to him in the midst of those other thoughts yelling at you. I chose to be satanic and superstitious. Well, you're definitely being superstitious on purpose because I'm tired of trying to fight it. There we go. So my assumption is accurate here. You have thoughts about occultism. You have thoughts about Satan. You have thoughts of things, and you're like, oh my goodness, I got to fight it. I'm tired of it, so fine, I'll just give into it. That's maybe what I'm doing, because you're letting intrusive thoughts dictate your state and what you do, what thoughts you chase, the interpretation you give it. Please help me. Every day has been hell for me, and I'm sick because shame invites me. I must get free. You're going to need some learning. And I've written a whole book that actually helps you with exactly what you're struggling with. But you're going to fuss a lot. You're going to go, no, I think I have given myself over to the devil. It's the same as I've committed the unpardonable sin. It's the same as I lost my salvation. It's the same as I never had it to begin with. It's the same as all of that. Okay? And there's freedom steps that you can take. Here we got another name. We got Paul Shosha.
Love Paul.
Thanks, guys.
He's so nice. I like how he wrote Cuppa.
Cuppa.
A cup of Joe. I'm having a cup of Joe right now. Cinnamon Dolce.
Well, John Pinchinotti's is a 7%. Paul's full. He's legit.
Paul's legitimate.
He's legit. Hey, John. By the way, John, Paul Shosha has got a nickname for you. He says you're Johnny the Pinch.
I love that.
It's great.
That is the best.
Uncle Paulie in the house.
Paulie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. All right. This is about a relative who identifies as gay. Let's get into this. I'm not sure how to begin this question or if it will make sense to another person. I've known two people in my life who have identified as gay, both family members, and I find I love them unconditionally. One was my brother. The other is my own child. I know the Bible condemns homosexuality in no uncertain terms, but I'm having trouble reconciling my love for these two people I mentioned and the need to separate from sin. Okay, the trouble of reconciling love has a lot to do with the system of the world that we live in, the matrix. Okay, let's talk about the matrix that we live in. And Mark, why are you using that word? Well, it speaks of, when we talk about the world, we're talking about not just the planet. We're talking about that Greek word used, world, is translated cosmos. It's a way of thinking. And here's the sneaky way of thinking. First of all, love is love, which means you do whatever you want. Just accept it. Number two, and this is what those in the LGBT community that are pushing an agenda that are saying across the board that love means you must say my behavior is good. And this gets into what the Bible says, calling evil good. The switch there, switcheroo. No. Loving people never, ever means that I have to say sin is okay. Never. It's never, ever called that. Never, ever do you ever have to say that, right? So that's part of what creates the confusion is you're living in a system that tells you that all day long. Then when you look at Christians, you kind of have two options in Christianity that seem to be presented. One option is that you say, no, this is sin, But there's this edge of anger. There's this edge of animosity. There's this edge. There's a bitter edge that's very condemning and doesn't manifest the fruit of the Spirit. The other option you're presented with is this very, very rewritten light definition of love that that has no anchor. It's like, that's just love. Everybody just love. It's to me, it's a system of codependency that develops. It's calling evil good and putting love on it. And we're becoming codependent with the world system. So when I talk about issues, I am not talking about issues on the world's platform of agenda, right? And that's what we often do. We see things on the news and the church kind of goes, well, we need to do something. And we kind of get pulled into their terms that they're establishing. It's like, I can love. Nope, I don't have to do that. Love doesn't mean that. Nope, right? So a lot of us, where I would recommend you start with is my series on where's my button? I would recommend my series on what is love. It's been a while since I've had. Oh, that's very nice for Valentine's Day, right?
It is perfect.
Yeah. Get a grounded understanding of love, what it means to love. Now, when it's your child, it's one. There's a certain understanding when it's your child. There's a certain understanding when it's a brother or things like that, right? What do I mean by that? When it's your child, you're going to understand. What do you do right now? Your child's an adult. And you said here, let me finish the question here so that then I can give more context. I have trouble reconciling my love for these two people I mentioned and the need to separate from the sin, how to witness, how to lead or influence someone who doesn't want God. Learning of my own child's sexual identification has really changed my perception of how to relate to her as a parent. There aren't too many Christian teachings on this subject that I'm aware of. So I'm wondering how to navigate these waters. So here's a dilemma that I run into all the time. Somebody writes to me and says, my adult son is transgender. What do I do? And it's like, there's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers, and I'm being presented with the tip of the iceberg, right? And not address, it's like someone who has, a number of debilitating illnesses, but they've had a whole lifestyle of poor nutrition, no exercise, high stress. And they're like, how do I solve this? Right? We're going to talk about layers because sexuality is a very, very powerful force. I'd encourage you also to watch my broadcast on sex. I forget what it's called, sexual struggles or something like that. I did it a couple weeks ago. It's longer, so you got to take a journey with me on it. But I would recommend that. But when there are many ways that sexual confusion comes into play, many factors that we have to understand. Some of these factors run in generations. It often comes about, trauma is a big part of it. Now, every sexual battle that I've addressed, not some, every, 100%, 100% of any kind of sexual struggle, be it homosexual temptations or pornography or promiscuousness or whatever. 100%. 100%. Have you gotten it yet? 100%. What I'm going to say. Not like some. When I asked them, how were you taught and what was your introduction to realizing you had attraction? Was not a good experience. Not a good experience. So there is a lot of sober things I'm going to say here. So you as a parent can't go into condemnation. If you go into condemnation, I'll lose you. You won't hear because you'll go into self-blame. I didn't do enough, right? But how we were introduced, sexuality, most people, you ask them that and it's, you're on your own. Most parents are like, you'll figure it out. They may have had a bird's bees awkward discussion, but the thing that is a big part of your life is not a lot of time spent on equipping, addressing it, working through it. That's a big responsibility parents have to have those conversations, right? So the introduction to sexuality and sex drive, then you add into it trauma. Trauma can be actually having a sexual encounter, which many people have like, yeah, I had this inappropriate thing, at this thing happen. But trauma can also be at a very young age being exposed to pornography. And there's stats that our kids are being exposed to pornography. I believe the number is about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
A high percentage of children, because of social media and all that, being introduced. Okay, so 8 or 9 years old, your puberty hasn't even really started to happen yet, and you're already being inundated. We also live in a world where the agenda of this is so heavy. Parents, we our job is, it is harder work I believe it's harder work to be a parent today than it was 20 years ago. That's just my opinion. It's harder work. We have more things, more stimulated things, more door points. I mean, 20 years ago, you had to work hard to get some pornography if you wanted to get it. Like, you had to go to a store, you had to know a guy, you had to go to a place. That's very easy to access now, and very easy for your kid to be on a tablet or a phone or whatever, or even just be watching on a streaming service. And
there's I don't want to cut you off, but also a big part of what's, and I'm sure a lot of people know this who are listening, that you get a lot of attention now for identifying with certain things.
Absolutely.
You get a lot of attention.
Yeah. So a factor that I haven't gotten to yet is one of the pandemics of this. The pandemic of these sexual confusion is the absence of a father. And I'm watching my YouTube algorithm. Let's see if it dips when I go into this one. I kind of watch that little line.
Right.
Nowhere in politics, nowhere in government, nowhere in school, nowhere, even in the church. The topic that I'm passionate about, the Father's love. I go into churches and I teach on it. Makes the most of the room so awkward. So awkward. Why? Because we're awkward because we don't have a grid of what it means to emotionally connect to a father. The father helps calibrate identity. He's the one who tells you who you are. Mm-hmm. So no father, no identity. So you're open to a lot of things. So we live in generations where there is the father aspect is not there. So then what happens? Moms are overcompensating. So now we have an out of order home system that's being developed, right? And now moms are overburdened. They're angry. They're stressed. Number one disease for women, number one, top of the list, heart disease. And it's not just from bad eating and whatever, although they may be stress eating and whatever. There's a lot of stress. Ladies, tell me, because most of my feed is female. Tell me I'm not, tell me I'm off, because you're under the weight of it. Whether, single moms or you had to kick him out because of his addiction behavior or his abuse, you had to, step away.
Well, the more dangerous one is because we say fatherlessness, so people instantly assume father not there. The bigger problem is the father in the home and he's passive. So that is where, the anger in the mother that she's got to take. Anyway, we could go on and on, but go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. So I spent a lot of my work as a pastor, the last church that I was overseeing, on just getting the fathers to wake up, getting the men to wake up. And it was like pushing a rhinoceros that doesn't want to move. Mm-hmm. It was like, wow, this thing has been generationally implanted in our homes, in our lives. So I'm very active. Every day I'm aware of my daughter. I have a daughter who's 13. And every day of my life, I'm so sobered at what her life would be like if there's not a father and a mother speaking into these areas of her life. I'm like, this thing would be a roller coaster. Okay, so I say all that to lead up to now we got this problem manifesting. So see how what I just shared there is layers and layers of stuff. This is right. Not to mention we live in a very lawless society, and what's being promoted what's being pushed. It's being pushed. This is not, hey, we have a struggle, just be kind to us. It is like you must accept it. It must be a part of your life. You must, it's militaristic. And it's causing us to then sometimes, a lot of times the church either reacts militantly or just leans into it and starts accepting the value systems. And we're of a different kingdom. It's a kingdom of love. It's a kingdom of power, love, and sound mind. It's working at knowing how to love with wisdom. So for you as a mom, you're grieving some things in your life, in your child's life, and she doesn't want God right now. So don't witness. Don't witness. I'm one of the few pastors who tells people stop fasting and stop doing this witnessing the way you're doing it. And people are like, oh, he's against fasting. No, I'm against this pressurized fasting. He's against witnessing. No, I'm against this compulsive. I got to tell you. She's got to, what you can do is you can be loving. When you're with her, it doesn't have to be like the thing that you talk about all the time when you see her. I don't know if she lives with you or not. So I don't know how to speak to that because there may be some decisions you have to make around that. She doesn't want it. So, okay. So try to have some sense of relationship. Now, the next part of the next part of application is where you're at in your conscience. In the sense of like, okay, what do I feel like I can do here? There's an argument going on right now amongst pastors. Should you, attend a gay wedding? It's a very, very heartbreaking kind of thing happens if that your child and you're a Bible believing Christian. And they're arguing back and forth. And I think that I don't have a perfect answer to that. So if you're asking that question, I have a perfect answer to that. I would probably lean towards I can't support that. I'm laughing because when the same-sex marriage came about, and people would ask me questions about same-sex marriage, I would tell people, I don't even marry every opposite-sex couple.
Right.
There's some couples I go, why don't you just go get a justice of the peace and just go get it. You're not interested in working on your issues. So just go get married. So anyways, so I think you kind of have to, what is a way that you can interact, and there's not like here's the 10 rules, but have a sense of conviction. Believers, let's have a sense of conviction. Have a sense of what your convictions are. You don't have to be a jerk about it. You don't have to be yelling at everybody about it. But have a sense of conviction for your life. I was having a talk with my daughter about this last night. Have a sense of what your sense of right and wrong is as you read God's word. Have a compass. Let the word be your compass. Let all things be in love. Don't get caught up into strife, because where there is strife, there's every evil thing. Anyways, that's my best take for right now, just on that. Is there anything you'd add to that, or is that?
No, I think that's
Okay.
wonderful. I do have to correct the record from John, and he said, "Do not cut him short. He is not 7%. He is 9% Italian.
He's 9%.
He's 9%. Don't shortchange him."
Okay, so we're gonna toss between two nicknames: Johnny the Pinch or Johnny 9. Shosha, you can let us know if which one you'd vote on. All right, so we got a family one. Did a bunch of family. You know what? Let me get to.
Ooh, is it a good one? Because, or is it a?
I did a lot of family stuff, or not a lot, but I spent a lot of time on Sunday. I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that because I do got some time here. All right. This is about anxiety that comes about of not really being accepted by others. I'll kind of see where I can go with this. Okay, here it goes. I'll get right to it. I know logically, and logically is in all caps, that God the Father is my rock for identity. And this is where most believers are in their journey. Do you know that God loves you? Yes. Right. They have a mental theory of it. They say yes to, right? But many of us say we struggle with it here, struggle with connecting to it here. And so that's, I think, what you're kind of saying. but I struggle with the anxiety of not being accepted by others. And that's an anxiety I feel that many people struggle and battle with. This is a very common issue. What does the acceptance mean? Just means accepting you in general. That's what I'm assuming. Just kind of feeling like you belong. And that sense of like not feeling that you belong, not feeling that you're there, that's what I call a rejection mindset. And I would encourage discipleship in that area. It's a fundamental area I spent years teaching on, working on, to get people an understanding of that, because it influences when you're not connected to love and identity. It branches into so many areas. Rejection comes in. Rejection is not something happening to you, somebody actively rejecting you. It's a rejection mindset. It creates a mindset that you don't belong. Okay. So when I try to be easygoing, accepting towards others, caring, kind, then I feel like people use me for when they want to. And then I'm pushed away when I filled their purpose. Yes. So there's some boundaries lacking there. You're going to need some boundaries. And healthy boundaries come out of learning to love yourself and have value for yourself in a healthy way. But rejection gets in the way of that. Then I question what's wrong with me. Okay. Right. You beat yourself up. And how do I really, it's in caps, get to the point of feeling deep in my heart that God truly does accept the person he created in me? Okay. That's going to be the material of seeing yourself the way that God sees you in his love, right? But this really and feeling, I'm getting the sense of too intense, got like pressure. I got to really feel it. That's not necessarily what love is either. It's not this like, I feel this amazing love. Just like those of you that have healthy marriages, it's not like I'm just so in love. You have moments and days, but that's not the basis. The basis is stable steps. And you can say right now, Father, I know you love me. I struggle with connecting to it and feeling it, but that's okay. I'm going to keep growing in it. I would start with the rejection mindset, because rejection creates a sense of separation. I've been told that I'm the most kind-hearted, thoughtful person. The head over my workspace calls me Mother Teresa. Okay. That's too much. Too much. Do you know Mother Teresa struggled really bad with the love of God? Mm-hmm. Do you know that? We put her on this pedestal. Nah, she's a normal person.
Yeah, she agonized of not feeling God. Oh, yeah. Go look it up.
It's in her journal entries. Yep. So don't put anyone on a pedestal. We're all normal people. We're just all people. We're all... So what this sister is writing here is people in the comments, people watching this later, people who writing me, people in church, people out of church, struggle is there. So let's get rid of the label Mother Teresa. You said the head over my workplace calls me. So meaning the person who is in charge. That's telling, because it's telling that you present a perfectionistic, you respond always empathetically. You got to give yourself permission that you don't always feel that empathy all the time, that you're worn out. I know this person a little bit through some emails, and I know that you're in compassion work, and that can get taken advantage of. And boy, have I gone through seasons of that. Worn out, then getting angry and feeling like everyone's taking me for granted, until I learned how to see myself through love and realize, okay, people relate to me as a relationship fixer. Fine. I can't change the way people relate to me. I can't tell them, you need to relate to me differently. What I can do is establish my boundaries of what I'm willing to do. And you're going to need lessons on boundaries. You're going to need to say a lot of no's. No, sorry, I can't do that. No. This is a very interesting subject. I'll bring you into this on. Speaking of codependency, there's a guy that I do like watching, because he manifests aspects that Christians should manifest. I like his broadcast. I watch him. Dr. Drew. He goes way back.
He's great.
He goes way back to the 90s. He goes way back to the days I saw him as a young 20-something, and he has this way of just having a compassion and a grace, no matter what strange question or what thing he talks about.
He does.
Who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll have a conversation with him.
I think that would be awesome. You should try.
Talk about it. He's not it doesn't strike. I don't think he's a believer. Whatever. But that's not my point. I was listening to him the other day, and he was talking about his work in dealing with addicts, and he was talking about codependency. And he said, I work in this all the time. It's a constant thing I'm learning and growing in. And he says, when I go in to work with somebody, I have somebody with me at all times. And he said, this is what he said. Why? He said, because I need to be checked that I'm not being pulled in to their vortex. Right. Because when you deal with any kind of addiction, it's like pig pen around them. And they want to suck you. It'll suck you into it. He's like, it's not maybe. He even said, if you're related to, with someone who's an addict, go to Al-Anon. Like you just have to, because you're already in the vortex and you don't even know it.
Yep, you're in that matrix. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So he says, I have a person with me at all times for this reason. And I thought maybe he was saying, I'm there, just for accountability for what happened. No. He said it's accountability for me because my empathy will get pulled in the wrong direction.
So good.
And I need that person when we walk out to check me or to go, oh, no, to be that objective source. And this is somebody with
training
decades.
and decades, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would consider an absolute expert on the subject of addictions, mental health issues, and all that.
So self-aware. That's good.
So
he's self-aware enough to have somebody to keep him self-aware.
Yes.
Like, that's good.
Yes, because he even knows.
Right. He knows how powerful that is.
Yeah, because he works from here.
Yep.
And people that are compassion workers, and when I say compassion workers, counselor, psychologist, therapist, social worker, prayer minister, pastor, church teacher, church leader. These are it's all here, emotions. And because of our unloved, neglected, ill-equipped places, we have a lot of unsanctified mercy, a lot of unsanctified love takes place. It sounds like love, but you're getting pulled in. Yeah. And the church reference I grew up in is just whenever there's a problem, you go in, and that's love. And it's just not.
And I think that your the Fixer video, I'm halfway through it. I got to finish it.
Yeah.
It goes over this very well. Yep. That specific thing. On anybody can be pulled into that.
Yep. So it's boundaries. Whatever they are, keep making them better.
Yep.
So I've had to learn to say no a lot, because then it empowers your yes. Mm-hmm. That's why Jesus said, make your yes, yes, and your no, no. So it's like some people have to move into like heaven, yes, and hell, no.
Yeah. I remember first reading that verse. And to me, that is one of the most powerful verses in the Word.
Yeah.
Because most of us don't know how to do that.
Yep.
We weren't taught that. Make your yes, yes, and your no. You grew up in any kind of dysfunction where you operate on guilt, which most of us do at any level, and then try to do that.
Your yes is given for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, down to food. What do you want?
Yep.
So we don't even know what we want anyway.
Very good. But it really irritates me when younger people want to almost bully me for being an older coworker. Ugh, she writes. The issue is real. The perfectionist in me wants to feel accepted. The journey of letting go of people pleasing is truly accepting that there will be people who misunderstand you, don't accept you, don't embrace you, don't love you. You have to embrace it. We try to fight it off and be like super Jedi, nothing affects me. No, that's not how it is. It's actually it's facing it. I have to face in my teaching, I will be misunderstood. I have to face there'll be people who won't like what I teach. I have to face people who won't agree with me. I have to face that people won't be kind. Embrace it rather than trying to avoid it or trying to make myself better to avoid feeling that. Instead, embrace it, and then now I can start moving on. Okay, I accept that those, because otherwise you're going to try to keep changing yourself, and that's going to feed the rejection monster. The perfectionist in me wants to feel accepted. The daughter of God wants to feel his love and emit a confidence of forget those negative nillies. I understand that, forget those negative nillies, but you're also perfectionistically trying to avoid those feelings. Those feelings are there. You feel hurt. You got to get rooted in God's love, deal with the rejection mindset like I talk about in the teaching, but also embrace, accept. Yep. All these people here, when I'm at work, they're going to pull on that. They're going to see me in that way. And I accept that. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to have some boundaries. And I'm also going to be aware that I'm going to have neediness, or I'm going to try to feel like I belong, and I'm going to try to put my unhealed needs in these people here. And that's a bad recipe. So anyways, so that, and watch the fixer.
So good.
Fixer video. Okay, let's get back into some family stuff. Got some drama for your mama. I've been talking a lot about leaving father and mother. By the way, when I talk about leaving father and mother, I'm not saying ignore them for the rest of your life. America, I was talking to somebody about this, and they said, in my culture, when parents get old, family takes care of them, and there's no nursing homes in my country, the person said. In America's, nursing home mindset. Okay, I get that. But we have to leave father and mother to develop who we are. That then helps you to understand how to relate, how to love in fruitful and effective ways. Because most people go through the journey and they're bound by guilt, and they're bound by very unhealthy patterns. So they don't even know how to relate to us in those ways. Okay, anyways, let me get to the question. Hey, Mark, I've been watching the recent broadcast on Stop Being a Fixer. Yes! And the recent Q&A. Yes! I feel like God must be getting my attention because I had the same conversation 2 nights before the Fixer broadcast. It was actually relatively freeing listening, and I realized some things that need to be adjusted in order to live a healthier lifestyle and have healthier relationships. In the recent Q&A, you talked about the power of just letting go. Yes. I recognize the value in doing so on one hand. On the other hand, the reason that it is so difficult, okay, no one said letting go wasn't challenging, just by the way, is that you see your family not walking a path that is healthy or fruitful for their lives or relationships. You want to provide some fresh perspective that could help them break out of the sludge and bondage that they're caught up in. Yep. That's actually exactly. Did you watch the whole Fixer thing?
Right. Because who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't? Yes. It is very hard. Only Willy Wonka can comfortably watch somebody jump into the chocolate river and go, and he's like, no, stop. Because he's clearly been through this where people didn't listen. So yeah, it is hard. It's very hard to watch people drive off a cliff. Yes. Especially when you go, hey, you don't have to do that. You don't have to. No, you don't have to. Right. But you're not your family's, you're not your mother and father and siblings fixer. I generally talk about my own journey and the ways God's changed me through deeper understanding instead of telling others you should or shouldn't, so-and-so. Yeah, I'd say, I'm assuming, this kind of sounds like, I'm wondering if you still live with your parents. Yeah, I think that may be happening here. I could be wrong. Because if you're doing a lot of conversations here, sometimes they talk about what I share makes sense. Much of the insight I've gained has been through your broadcasts. Can you help me understand what you mean by let go? Do you mean don't share new insights with family? Or do you mean it's okay to share what you are learning with family and friends? No.
Yes and no.
I say I wouldn't even throw a yes in there. I'd say no.
No, well, I'm saying yes, don't share. Like I'm saying, yes, you mean don't share? Don't share. Sorry, did I get that backwards?
You said yes and no. Right?
Because you're the way you said it. I thought, sorry.
That's all right. Much of the insight. Okay, so my instruction to young people moving into adulthood is you want to move on with your life as soon as possible. Okay? Move on out of the house, moving into your journey. Okay? So it's a physical relocation and a moving on with your journey. Because there needs to be that disconnect so that then you can relate to your parents in a new way because they're done parenting you. Newsflash. I say that to people and it's like, I know I'm the first person that's told them that. When you're, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, in that stage, Your parents are done parenting you. That's it. It's over. It's done. So now you got to make that break. So then as you re-interact, you're now interacting with your parents as a grown adult.
Which is where hey, everybody's coming over this weekend for the third time in a row. Do you want to come? No, I don't.
I might need to be like...
Let me tell you something right now. What you need to say is, Mom and Dad, I'm a grown adult.
I am dead. Let me tell you something. Because then, guess what? When you let it go and you let yourself go and you move on,
Yes. So
you are stronger in who you are.
Yeah. So
and you can say yes, you can say no, and you lay it down.
Yeah. So no. Don't share your counseling, your overcoming, healing.
Here's what I'm even going to say. If they say to you, wow, little Johnny or Mary, you really seem quite confident lately. Where has this come from? You know, I've just been reading some good books. Oh, really? What ones?
You can say
the book.
You can go markdejesus.com. Why don't you guys check it out?
Don't send them the book. Guess what? The book is going to get dust.
Yeah.
Even if they act interested.
Yes.
It is, I mean, I don't even know what the percentage is, but like 0.01% will read the book.
Yep.
It's not going to be you that changes them. It's only going to suck you into the fixer, victim, codependent vortex.
Yep.
Oh, no, but my family's different. They really want to hear what I have to say. Okay. They don't.
You can see the monitor, right?
Yes.
These are all the same questions.
Yes, because listen, that's the pandemic right now. Okay?
Right.
Family.
Yeah.
Codependent dysfunction is the epidemic, pandemic. It is what's destroying everybody.
I feel that in many years ago, many of the phone calls, I want to just have an automated message that goes, hi, this is Mark. Your problem is codependency.
Yeah.
I know you're asking me other questions, but your problem is codependency. You leave your message after the beep. Beep. You know, because that's, I just like, codependency. Learn about it. Get clarity on who you are. It'll help you get clarity on your boundaries. Say a lot more no's. So, so don't share your growth with your parents. And if they see it and go, hey, love
say
it.
Thank
this
you.
is great.
And you know what? Here's the bigger challenge when they say, wow, we're really seeing that you're having wonderful changes. Thank you. And then you say nothing and sit in the awkward silence.
Yeah, because your job is not to save your parents.
Your next sentence is not, oh my gosh, yeah, I got this great book you can read, and here, let me show you, and let me send you this, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to email you all my resources, I'm going to show you, and hopes that maybe they'll read it, and they'll get well, and then, they're going to be a better parent to you. No, stop it right now. Stop it.
Right.
Stop it.
Right.
Stop it.
I'ma slap you with my church slipper.
The chancla. I heard when you were saying that earlier. That was quite funny. We're gonna keep beating this drum until somebody says, you know what? I took your advice and I sat in the silence and I did not try to fix them. And I will be like, that is a victory of our ministry. Amen.
Learn to love the crickets. Right?
Stand in front of the mirror and say, no. And then stay silent and stare at yourself.
Yep.
Yep. There you go.
So you said, do you mean it's okay to share what you're learning with family and friends? Friends, maybe. So, family, no. Maybe that's what your yes and no was?
Yeah, to family.
To friends, maybe. But even there, like you share, hey, this thing I'm working to, but even then, like keep a guard on what you're...
Correct, because people really don't want to know.
This is, keep your, the pearls before swine kind of thing, your treasure. Okay, you said it's okay to do that, but letting go of the expectation I'm going to be their source helps them break through. No, you let go of both. Let go of it. Let go of it all. Go of it all. It'll feel like getting glue off of you, but there's more freedom available. Okay, let me get into adult child living at home. Let's get into that. My daughter moved in.
Oh, Snapple.
My daughter moved in with us when my grandson was born 5.5 years ago. Okay. The dad is not in the picture. We said we would help her. if she chose not to go with the dad. Okay. He was her only boyfriend in her early 20s. She's not dated since breaking up with him, and meeting up with him unexpectedly had my grandson. She has some boundaries for him to see him if she would go with him, and he did not marry any of them. Well, okay, I didn't understand that sentence. I'm going to move on. He wanted to be with her, but on his terms. He was very controlling, did not want to be a part of the baby's life without her. She started attending church with us when she moved in with us. The last 4.5 years have been very nice. This last year, she has been angry with me in body language and change in attitude. I'm not sure why.
Wait, stop. Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let's just chunk this out. So she moved in. She had a bad boyfriend.
Yes.
She was not supposed to be with the boyfriend. She
Yeah.
hooked up with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Got pregnant, has a baby,
Yeah.
and they're taking in the baby, and now the daughter is giving her a tude. Is this where we're at?
They're taking in her and the baby.
And then the daughter's being rude.
Yes. Yes.
I'm already like,
I feel like a speech is coming up right about now. I feel like,
okay.
we about to have a conversation about what's been happening in the 4.5 years.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure why, except for a few guesses. We've not charged her rent. I think you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the thing. If you have an adult child with you, you got to have some agreements. Okay.
Yeah.
In the meantime, there has to be a deadline. Okay. Having an adult child with you, I understand circumstances. You know, there's certain needs, certain seasons. There's kids that go out and they went, oh, I can't afford it. I lost my job. Come back in. Okay. There needs to be clear rules, boundaries. I think some rent should be there, and help paying with bills, and a sense of where is this going? Because we need the sense of pressure of like, okay, I got to find a job, or I got to find some things. Because without that deadline, then you just go, one day you wake up and you feel down, you don't do anything. Let's take a step, because there's nothing there. There's nothing. A part of being an adult is having pressures in life. That if I don't work or don't find ways of income, these lights ain't going to turn on.
Right. And most people on their own won't initiate moving on up and out. It's rare. So if they know that there's no real clear boundaries, most people take advantage of it, whether it's your child or not. They're going to.
Yep.
Because it's a free ride.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We've not charged her rent, and I've watched my grandson 2 days a week, 25 hours. This is an absolute gift that she's been given.
Absolutely.
And so, okay, anyways, let me get into
Okay.
My daughter is an excellent mom to him. She has listened to your broadcast and bought a book on emotionally immature parents, which she says I am. Okay, here we go. We're having discussions now. She's talking to you. Your kids, your adult kids coming to you, and it's going to kick up strife here. She's listening to broadcast about a book on emotionally immature parents, which she says I am, but isn't open to give examples. I think I'm an enabler and have done way too much in wanting to help her. Yes, I would agree with that. I don't see myself as being emotionally immature, but I may just be blind to it. Well, if you're enabling somebody, you're emotionally immature.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's not a judgment. We all got bits of it. We're all immature in areas of our life. Immature isn't just a blanket immaturity in every area of your life. There are people that are CEOs of billion-dollar companies that are emotionally immature. There are people.
Right.
It isn't, So to keep it simple, I now feel like I'm a prisoner in my own home. Yeah, you're becoming a victim here to her journey and the way she is with you. My daughter says I have an attitude towards her and she reacts to me. I've offered to go to counseling with her, but she doesn't see a need. I only now see the need that she needs to go out on her own. She has been able to save while living here and is good with her money. Yeah, she needs to move on. Because here's the picture I get. She read a book on emotionally immature parents. But here's what people can do. They could take Mark DeJesus material or something that they read and they go, see, my parents were, you guys were, and it's like, no. The material is for you to work on yourself.
Yeah.
So to say you're immature, you want to go get help? No, that's not what this.
And the longer that this arrangement goes, because it's not normal, it's not natural to be living back with your parents as an adult. And I agree with Mark. There should be a time frame, whether it's a year or two. You agree to that, and you have that goal in mind.
Yep.
And it's because it's not healthy for either. I don't care who's if they're both dysfunctional, one's worse than whatever. There's stuff that's going to come. This is only going to get emotionally worse the longer that they stay living together.
Correct.
It is.
Yep. It's supposed to not go well.
Exactly.
This is supposed to not go well. So adult children living with your parents, it's supposed to not be well.
Right. Grandparents are supposed to get excited then when they see their grandchildren, not have them living in the house. And I understand there are different, like I said, if there are circumstances, someone's house burned down, you have something that happens and you say, I need to live with you for a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when it starts to seep into now you're having moments of silence. People are not speaking to each other. You have all these things it's time to go. It doesn't mean you have to stay angry at each other. No, it's time to go.
My husband wanted to charge her rent 1 year ago, $300 a month. She started crying, so we just dropped it. Okay, well, yeah, having to pay is a big step. That's part of. If you cry to a landlord, that doesn't do anything. How many of you know that, right? But you're stuck in. You're mothering her as a 12-year-old, so she is being undeveloped at the stages of her life. She got pregnant young. We're not being condemning, shaming, but you have to take responsibility now. Okay.
Does it say she got pregnant young, or is she a grown woman?
He was her only boyfriend in her early 20s.
That's an adult. That's not like a teenager.
Well, it's still young.
It is.
20?
Oh, I thought with the way you were saying it that it was
20s. Yeah. I get you. I'm almost 50, so it's like 20 seems like teenage years.
That's so true.
But whatever. Anyways, it leaves. You'll be pulled into treating her like a teenager.
Yeah.
Right. What I'm saying is if I understand this, she got pregnant out of wedlock.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But,
so that's what I'm pointing to. This not no shame, no condemnation.
Absolutely
it is
not.
what it is. God's here. He loves you. But you have to realize, okay, this happened. So it kind of skipped me through some steps here that I got a higher level of responsibility suddenly.
Right. And there is an aspect now of her becoming a mother where she needs to be able to have her own freedom to go be a mother too.
And to figure it out. And
to grow in that new journey in her life.
Right. And
exactly.
you don't need your mom hovering over while you're trying to figure out.
Yeah. And also if the dad of this child is not in the picture, there's all kinds of dynamics and things too for the devil to get in here. Right. And no one handles these things perfectly. We're not condemning and saying you're a horrible family for none of that. But there are dynamics here that need to be lived out so that maturity can happen, emotional growth can happen. And not everybody's on top of each other at the stages of their lives. Analyzing and you hurt me, it's anyway.
It's really good, really good, really good. I lost my space. I'm trying to find where I'm. No, it's not your fault. I'm really. So we dropped it. She cried. She cried at $300.
Which again is that's manipulation. I'm sorry.
It $300 for rent
a month.
Woo! I'll take it.
That I would have been like, I'll pay the $300 if I can stay here, and because see, then
600
is still cheap.
Even with babysitting. Oh,
wow.
Oh,
woo. Woo.
Let me finish this and we're going to take a dance break. My thoughts are asking her to make a plan to move out this June. Hallelujah.
I think that's good.
Glory. Hallelujah. Since I laid my burdens down. Now I feel the Spirit. This will give her time to find a place to live and plan for my To plan for my grandson. She's homeschooled him this year, which I've been all on board for. I love the time I spend with him, very close. I would love to continue to watch him when she moves out. Now, see, now you can make an agreement when she moves out. And you have a structure. I'm willing to do this because childcare is, that's expensive. And it's like, trusting someone that's not family and, to care.
Right.
We get all that. Would love to continue to watch movies. I'm really afraid to bring up this conversation. In her mind, she thinks she can stay here until she chooses to move on. I'm really wanting wisdom how to approach this. The wisdom is you have to not give in to the tears. Have a kind conversation. Have your husband with you. Have your husband lead the conversation. Let it be kind. Let it be gracious. Well, we got to do this. And just know it's going to be awkward. It's going to be awkward. And just hang in there, take the steps, because your relationship can get much better.
Yeah, and you're setting her up for success. Even though it feels like you're being unloving, you're not.
Yep.
It's actually more loving to set the boundary and say, we got to
That's it.
part ways.
That's it. Be back in a minute. All right, so I will get into a little bit more of this, a little bit more. There's many got a deck of cards here, but we'll continue on this journey, climbing through these weeds. All right, dear Mark, before we get to the however, at least you know that's what's going on. I want to say thank you for your videos and resources that have been a huge help to me personally, and by extension, the people in my life. I share a lot of what I've learned through you to them. Okay, here we go. However, I visit my family fairly often. Okay, so you don't live with them. So, all right, we'll check that off there.
Amen. We're starting off good here.
We're making some progress, as they say in Canada. Don't they say progress?
I don't know.
Yeah. I've been, I got some progress, eh? I've been moved out for some time, but like to visit my youngest siblings who live at home. I've come to realize my parents are and have been emotionally checked out for some time. Sorry, I'm laughing. It's just kind of the way I read. Checked out for some time with no real intentions of getting the help they need. Okay, I see where you're at here. Specifically, one of my younger sisters has chosen a life directly in opposition to a life in Christ and very much likes to create contention as a way of expressing her individuality, choosing subjects she knows my parents would disapprove of, such as LGBT, pagan, New Age stuff, political, etc. Okay, I get the picture.
Someone's mad at their parents.
If you decide to read this on YouTube, feel free to change the wording. However, will keep you from getting demonetized
Oh, that's good.
or in trouble. I don't think I was supposed to read the parentheses. Let's see. Did it dip a little bit? Okay. All right. She never attacks me directly on my values or beliefs, but she will make underhanded comments about other people who hold those beliefs because they have them. I feel really torn on this. Part of me feels like I'm not directly confronting her every time. No, that's not your job. Your job's not to confront her every time. Your job's not to confront it. You're going to have to realize she's on a journey. She's influenced by a lot of influences. That is part of her pain and part of things that she's going to need healing on. And she's chosen to let the false prophets be her healers. Do you know that? That's part of what's going on here. Mm-hmm. So false prophets will come in and say, you know what they are? They're just hateful because you disagree. That means you're hateful or whatever. So you don't have to confront or accept that this is where she's at. Meaning accept that's where she's at. You see it for what it is and release yourself of having to go and confront, have all these conversations and try to create all this burden. Part of me feels like in not directly confronting her every time, I'm being cowardly and inauthentic to my personal values. No, that's not true. One of which is conflict. I've been slowly learning, but I'm hesitant to engage. No, working through conflict and being courageous doesn't mean confronting your family members on their sin issues. It's just not. And she's shown she doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't want to talk about it. She's not open. So you're dealing with a hard-hearted person, and only God can do something with that. So what Christians don't understand is when you're dealing with a hard-hearted person, your prayers of God, I give them to you, are more powerful than you, God, help change her heart, change her this, change her that. God, give me the words to say to her. Those are less powerful prayers. Your prayers of God, I give her to you. Give her to you. And release yourself of having to debate with bondage.
Yeah, because the challenging the passive aggressive tactics and all those things, you can have a time where you feel like, wow, I said what I needed to say. Mm-hmm. That's not, the devil knows what he's doing, and he's going to get in the mix every single time you're together and want to make this confrontation now happen all the time, because it's not a one-time thing.
Yep. You could say, devil, I see your passive aggressive
and
hook.
I'm speaking of this from absolute experience. I had to get on that merry-coaster, that merry-go-round roller coaster,
right,
many a time.
Yep.
And it landed me nowhere.
Yep.
Just with bruises. I'm a little heart.
Just with bruises.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just finding my place here.
I was like, where'd we go?
Well, I'm getting older, and I think I need larger print.
You need a bifocal. You need the progressives. You need progressives now?
No, I can see it.
Oh.
I can see it, but it doesn't feel natural reading the size of this.
Well, we also did address this on Sunday when people write in huge block paragraphs.
That's true.
You guys, and we're not saying it to be mean. Honestly, Mark and I like to joke and all the things, but when you're writing us emails, please, can you write it like you're being graded? because we can't read it. Everything is mushed together, sentences. Like you gotta space stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe write it in a doc to spell check it and stuff.
Yeah, print it out and say, would I read it this way? Would I send, like, just double check it.
Yeah, it helps me. But this, I need to print this larger because it takes me a second. I'm not actually, because I'm being, I feel like I'm not directing and confronting every time. I'm being cowardly and inauthentic to my personal values, one of which is courage, as well as I'm worried about how that's affecting my other sisters. So that pulls you in because you have sisters that are living there, right? I get the impression. So you feel pulled that you got to have the burden on you to fix. No, it's not your burden. I'm not naturally a person that engages in conflict. I've been slowly learning, but I'm hesitant to engage. Part of me feels like it's not my battle to fight. I should just get away from my family since I'm an adult, be more focused on my own life. Another part of me worries about how I confront her about it in a way that expresses God's love towards her, even as she actively rejects him and doesn't make it worse, harder for him to reconnect her. Any suggestions or thoughts? Yeah, a lot of codependency, a lot of you're being tied to have to do something. You know, you're not responsible to fix that. You're just not. And it's grieving. You grieve it. Watch it. It's very painful watching family members make terrible decisions. But we live in a world where love means you got to rescue them, you got to fix them, and then we're going, God, I can't hear you. God, I can't hear you.
Right.
God, I'm asking you, but we compulsively have already made up our minds what we're going to do, and we're full of guilt, and we're doing all these things, and then we go, I can't hear God, because a lot of times you go, God, what I do, and the answer is nothing. So we hear nothing and we go, God's not talking.
Right.
God's right. I'm not in this. David Jenkins, thank you. Double space with margins.
Right.
can always.
Dissa J said, pretend you're being graded. She liked that one.
I'm sorry, what?
When I said, pretend you're being graded on your paper.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Can I just say something
back
ahead. To the person? What's hard too is we play things out, and where they could end up doesn't feel nice. So we say stuck and how to handle situations because we play out the whole scenarios in our mind. Well, if I say something, if I this, I that, and it keeps us stuck from not even respecting ourselves in situations.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's take another dance break here. Let's take I think we're going to need to do another Under the Blood, but let's go back to the good old. That is good stuff. I'm sorry.
I love it. Honestly, I do not get sick of it. First of all, his voice. I know you talked about Jeremiah Yoakum. His voice.
Yes. My man.
I found a church, listen, we're in Charlotte. There's so many churches around here, you know, like everybody, well, I shouldn't say. A lot of people have great worship teams, but I'm sorry. There's something about a voice like his that just is church.
He got some pipes, man. He got some. There's a move that he does. I love when he goes, "Hey, I'm going."
Oh yes.
And he goes. I'm gonna tell my friends and neighbors. And he does this. He goes, Like
I love it.
Yeah. Like he's in a fight. Watch this.
I love it.
Just watch this again.
The Holy Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit.
Watch it. Watch. You see that?
I love it.
You see that? You see
I
that?
love it.
He just does that like he's in a fight.
Yep. He's like, Lord.
Well, love that stuff.
Any more, babe?
Yeah.
Wait, let me see. I think there was somebody. Hold on. There was a super chat I missed from Max Schneider Codes. Hi, Max. That's just like our son, Max.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, I am on the spectrum, and I would love to hear some teaching on the topic of Aspergers, which you did just talk about earlier, but thank you so much. God bless you from Cologne, Germany.
Yeah. Look. If you're, I'm assuming maybe
But
you're.
I guess, too, would be better, Max, if you want to let us know, like, what are you meaning by that? Like, what?
Yeah, because maybe he's late into the broadcast, because I did talk about it some in the beginning here.
A little bit.
Listen to that a little bit, and then write me an email, mark@markdejesus,
Yes.
or use the question link and put in there and get a little bit more specific. What do we mean by that? Because the principles I laid out there are important for that. And then, maybe if there's any other specifics, you can let me know about that too. All right, let me try to get through a couple here that maybe I can just address briefly. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for all you do for the body of Christ. I have the books, God Loves Me, I Love Myself, and OCD, and Heart Healing Journey, and Father's Love. They're so good at helping me. My question, in my day, I wake up in the morning, I have bad emotions and anxiety, and those is about my salvation, that God doesn't love you, God doesn't accept you, or because you've sinned, and you didn't take advantage of the grace, and now you're rejected. Yeah, so those are all lies, but it's what your emotions have associated with. So when you feel anxious, it means those things. So that's what I call about interpretation. And when I talk about OCD, one of the distortions that actually a lot of Christians have is that number 3 there, distorted meaning of our thoughts. I see this a lot in the church, is we have an emotion, we have a certain thought, and we associate it with whatever kind of disturbance. So then when we feel that, so you're going to have to wake up in the morning, go, I feel this emotion, and keep taking steps forward to not feed the fact that you're anxious or this. You feel it, but you're not feeding it. And you're not then, because a lot of times what we do is we feel it, and then we're now entering into a stage of ruminating, which means I'm now figuring it out. I'm arguing with it. I'm spinning in it. I'm debating with it. I'm doing all this checking. We have to learn to go, I feel it, but I'm not feeding it. And it'll kind of keep, because that thought is it's been pumped into your system. So it doesn't want to just leave. Thoughts just don't want to leave once they have stimulation. You kind of create a pathway in your thinking. It wants to stay around. So once you stop stimulating that thought, like think of it as like a neural pathway, right? And it's like charged. Where every time you feel anxious, it's this. It means this, right? And then you kind of looks like I'm putting a spell on somebody. That's not what I mean. I mean like little neurons, you know. And so you stop feeding that thought. And what happens? Like that thought just goes, I want to stay. And that's where we have to learn to keep practicing, even though we feel a certain interpretation. You're firing the interpreter, walking into a new pathway. So I'd encourage you, jump into my course in the Healing and Freedom community, because I did a lot of teaching on interpretation. I'm teaching on that book right now, because your interpreter is sending you into all kinds of directions. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I get over those thoughts, and sometimes they come back. I can be so overwhelmed with the thoughts because I have to feel a certain feeling, right? There's your distortion on emotions. And know that I'm saved. Chasing the saved subject is not going to help you. Sometimes I have love for Jesus, sometimes I don't. Yeah, that's everybody. Sometimes you have great sense of connection to love for God, and sometimes you don't. It doesn't mean you don't love him. And we fall into that trap. So, but inside of me, I need Jesus. I want him, but it's so hard to feel. There's a distance. Please help me. That's a great start.
I missed a super chat. May I?
Yeah.
Okay. From Dominic, I have unwanted thoughts about someone from a past fling whilst being married. Feeling like God is telling me I should be with her. Getting anxiety at church while pastor is talking, thinking, confirmation.
Same thing, the interpreter.
I was just going to say, I actually almost just typed in the chat to the person, like, this is, you're answering it basically right there.
So,
and you've talked about this a lot. I'm sure, I think too, you have some videos.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very normal for you to have a thought about somebody you dated in the past, or somebody you liked in the past, or
doesn't mean anything.
or some person you saw in a magazine when you were a teenager, or whatever it goes back to. It's normal for a thought like that to show up. It doesn't have to mean something. What happens is we go, oh no, this means something. But wait, I felt a feeling. Right? Many people write to me, yeah, but Mark, I had this feeling. Okay. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of feelings, right? Oh, but I felt an arousal response in my body. Okay. Still, doesn't have to mean something. So we get lost in the disturbance of it. This is wrong. I had a thought show up, and then you feel so disturbed within you, and you feel, oh my goodness, I'm committing adultery. I feel like you start to go into all these spirals instead of going, okay, so that's a thought. And especially, what did the person say? It was somebody that was a past
fling in the past.
Yeah, okay. So a fling is something that you had a rush in, right? So when you're down, it can be common for a thought of a rush you had in the past, right? Or when you're having struggles in your current in your marriage, or maybe you're going through trials, you think of a time back and
when it was easy, when you were in an easy, fun, right?
Yeah, we romanticize that, and we forget all about the drama that was in that relationship and all the stuff that was in there. We think of like this magical moment, and we make that magnified, and we forget. So just practice just a gentle redirect. Oh, it's okay.
Right.
Had that thought. I don't have to feed it. I don't have to look into it. Yeah, but Mark, I feel things in my body, right? People write that too. I feel things.
Who doesn't? That's why we say that.
Right. We read into bodily responses a lot.
Right.
A bodily response still has to mean something. Still doesn't have to. Yeah, but I felt it. Nope. Still doesn't have to mean something.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Mark, what practical? What?
I said it's good.
Oh, what practical changes did you make in your life to start ruminating less? When starving the following of obsessive thoughts, it can feel like they're just playing on repeat in the background when trying to focus on other tasks. What allowed you to start letting the voice fade into the background to the point you didn't hear it anymore? I would recommend my video on rumination. I would also encourage the course, OCD Healing Journey course that I'm in. But I had to come to terms that the way I was relating to my thoughts was the more I fed into them in any way, shape, and form, they got bigger and stronger. So I had to realize if you have a certain thought that feels very strong, I just realized this thought's going to take a while to die down. It's not just going to go down today, a week, a month. In fact, I didn't even put a deadline on it. It's just going to take a while. You have to understand thoughts when they become ingrained, they create grooves in our thinking, and we fall into them very instinctively. So renewing them takes time. So practically, I became way more patient with myself and reminded myself. And so I'd get a few wins. Maybe one I spin about, and like after maybe a month or so, I'd be like, it's a little better. And I just build my confidence. I can do this. I just wanted to be free. So I had to realize that rumination was anti-loving, meaning it's anti-helpful. So if I have a disturbing thought and I beat myself with a hammer, that's not going to work. Right? That's kind of what we do in ruminating. It's like we're having this thought and we're just going with the thought by trying to interrogate it, inspect it, stare at it, and get into it. So practically speaking, I was realizing all of that, reacting to it. So what you learn is you learn to live your life while there's other voices going on. And people go, oh, that means something's wrong with me. No, there's lots of voices calling for our attention. Even people who don't have OCD. Lots of voices calling for your attention. The ones that stick, they find a way to stick off of some kind of, our values, or, oh no, maybe this means something about me, or the what ifs and all that. So then we start looking at them. We look into them. So I practice the gentle redirect. And then so go to all my materials about the gentle redirect. Learning how to gently move away from the subject you spin about and go, that's not good for me right now. That's not good for me. So it's like, that's to use drug terminology. Because OCDers, when they leave their disturbance, it's like a drug addict coming off of a drug. So I'd be like, oh, no, that's heroin. Mm-hmm. Now I've not been a heroin addict, but it's like use that strong terminology of nope, I don't need to take heroin. I don't need to do that. Gently redirect myself to what's in front of me, to the moment, the person, relationship, and even when that doesn't work, I go, okay, I hear it there. In my early days of writing, I've written entire chapters of a book with another voice in my intrusive voice hitting me with stuff, bombarding me. And I'm trying to write, try writing a book. I've had, while I'm preaching a sermon, the whole sermon, I'm in an intrusive bombardment. Try that. You feel like you're in a roller coaster, but you just stay in it, and practice it and practice it and practice it.
I just want to say, I am just going to grab something because it stuck out to me in the chat that Alicia asked, how can we shield our children from OCD? And I feel like you just laid out too. I told her exactly what you're talking about right now. Talk to your kids about that. Talk to them on how to deal with thoughts. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the question, the wording, shielding,
them. Right. Because you can't.
You're not shielding your kids. Mm-hmm. Now you can shield your kids from unnecessary, sinful influences of what they watch on TV, what they listen to, right? That's shielding. Mm-hmm. But if you notice your child has obsessive, somebody wrote into me, I think too, just before I came in, I was just kind of scanning through my email box, and as a parent who's got a kid, they're going through your material, Mark. I think there's a teenager going through my material in the community. What else can we do as parents? I think parents should be, if you have a kid, you see these struggles, first parents, work on yourself. Mm-hmm. Work on yourself, because the more that you work on yourself, the more you're going to have language to help.
Right. The more they see you healthfully dealing with things.
Yep.
Right.
And then have conversations about how to be gentle with yourself, loving towards yourself, kinder with thoughts. And, there's times too where we have to put our foot down. Nope, we're not going to go there. Nope, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's important. Mm-hmm. So, do you have any other things going on?
No.
All right, let me do one more dance break here. While I'm gonna glance through the rest in the pile here and see if there's anything.
I'll look too.
Oh, okay. Meanwhile,
under the blood, me say me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus cover me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you will cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Jesus, you will cover me. Say under the blood, under the blood. Jesus, you will cover me. Jump on this. Jump on this. Listen, Christian fight some things with them not see. Stronghold demons and principality. Remember they are the temple. Keep it holy, sanctified, justify, give God the glory. Fighting against three terrible enemy. The world, Satan and myself against me. What the anointing, pour it on me and make me trample the devil on it. Say, under the blood. Under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Blood. You want to hear it? Drum and bass. Drum and bass, listen.
Jump on bass.
Christian fight some, play low, let them hear me.
Jump on bass.
The physical man.
That's
can't
my favorite
fight
part
no
when he tells them to
demon.
stop
Fasting
so
and
they can
prayer
hear
fi
it.
build up the inner one. Well anointed, convert the sinner man. Bind the demon, rip up Satan. How you pollute the land with pure corruption. A warfare time, this a revelation. Thank Father God for give me salvation. Fill me with the Holy Ghost, it is an inspiration. Say, under the blood, under the blood. Jesus cover me. Jesus, you will cover me. Say, under the blood. Under the blood, and me say, Jesus, you will cover me. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood of Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Hallelujah.
That's what's up, man. That is what's up. That is what's up.
I love him.
I'll play it. I'll play the full length of it at some point because
Someone asked, "What's your assistant's name?" And I like Bethany wrote, "Mark's wife's name is Melissa." Yes, I am basically the assistant.
Miss, cover me. You didn't do it.
I'm sorry. Under the blood. Oh goodness.
Me assistant, cover me.
Under the blood.
Can I go? Can I walk in at dinner time and go, "Hey, assistant"?
We are laughing so hard right now because no one helps us.
Me, basically the assistant.
Yes.
Me assistant,
We
yeah.
help ourselves. Oh gosh.
Let me help you. Help me.
To help ourselves.
To help you.
We try to tell our kids, like, maybe you should help us. And they're like, Abby does the face.
David Jenkins wrote his assistant better than partner.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is so funny.
I'm supposed to be.
Oh my gosh.
I'm supposed to be mature here.
That is so funny.
We're supposed to be mature. We're Christians.
Oh my goodness. That made me like have tears coming out of my eyes.
Okay.
Oh, that is.
When me wake up. Okay, I gotta focus here. All right. Let me try to land this a little bit.
Oh, that is so good.
I do have a meeting in a little bit, so let me wind this down here. All right. So this is a bit about spinning when trying to connect with someone. I have a feeling a lot of us.
This is the story. This question is the story of my life.
Story of my life. Hi, Mark. I find that when I'm feeling like I'm not connecting with someone or I'm struggling to relate with someone, not knowing how to answer a question, not knowing what my role is, whether my 3-year-old or my parent. She's talking about herself?
Yes.
I don't know whether it's my 3-year-old or my parent.
Whoever's asking the question, right?
Whether she's being a parent or a 3-year-old.
Read it again. Now I'm confused. Your assistant is not on point right now. Okay. Read it again. Read it again.
I'm going to have fun at dinner tonight. Like, assistant, can you
get me more beans? This is gonna be good. Whoever wrote this is it. This is now the new thing in our house, and I love it. Okay, yes, please reread. Thank you.
Here, you just read it.
Want me to read it? Oh,
yeah. Just assistant, read it to me.
Dave wrote, "Maturity is overrated." Hundy. Okay. Hi, Mark. I find that when I am feeling like I am not connecting with someone or I am struggling to relate with someone, not knowing how to answer a question or not knowing what my role is, whether it's my 3-year-old or my parent, I have a strong anxiety and somatic reactions. Any idea why this might be happening? I sense an overwhelming internal pressure on myself and then spin in trying to figure out how to make it stop because it's painful. Thank you for any insight.
Yeah. You and I have both had this.
Oh, big time. I relate to this person. I relate to it so much.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. It's,
especially too when you grow up in like a home that has complex trauma of of all different kinds, and you disassociated as a child, or you disassociate in things and you freeze. you end up, anyways, I'll let you answer too, babe. Go ahead.
No, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. Do you have any more you want to?
No, I think that this takes time as you heal and you begin to first, number one, recognize that your voice is important. And I think those of us that grew up in homes where our voice wasn't heard, we weren't seen, we struggle when we're connecting. I know for me, as a kid, I majorly disassociated and disconnected around people.
Yeah.
So I struggled with, I still do at times. I still do, especially too, my sister and I talk often, and her and I will be talking, and it can be easy for me to just zone out. Like she'll say to me, I said that to you already. And I'm like, you know what? I know I disconnected, and I can fall into old patterns. I've done it with you, babe. And it takes time as I'm healing and growing. That number one, I don't have to have the answers for everything, and just practicing being present and taking the pressure off of myself.
Yeah, I think that in response...
I know I kind of threw out a bunch of things there, but...
In response to this question, I think it's unproductive to try to dissect the way you're dissecting it.
Yeah.
Is this... I still don't understand the parent part.
It's not. They're using it. They're just saying in conversations in general of not knowing how to respond. So she just used the example of whether it's a 3-year-old or an adult would probably... Yeah.
So, like she's saying, is it me as an adult, or is it my young, undeveloped kind of emotions, kind of?
No, she's saying whether her 3-year-old is talking to her and she needs to give an answer, or an adult is asking a question.
Okay, I totally read it wrong.
Yeah, babe. So when you disconnected,
yes,
hearing,
yes, okay,
what
I got it. I got it because I need a. When's we wake up?
Yes.
Okay, I woke up.
You're under the blood right now.
I got it. I'm back under the blood. I think it's like dissecting it. It's still the answer's still the same. The dissecting it. What is this? Where did it come from? What's happening? What you need is a compassionate, gracious response to yourself, and realizing having social interactions is an art form. It's a learning process. It's not this cut and dry kind of thing. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you're trying to have a meaningful interaction, it's vulnerable. You're trying to go back and forth. You have awkward silences. Sometimes you say things. And what I find is a lot of obsessors, afterwards, you have the post-game analysis and you beat yourself up. And I've had that a lot. I've had that over broadcasts I've done. Or I'm laying there at night going, what was I saying? The shame comes in. And usually if you have an interaction with somebody and the shame starts to hit you afterwards, it's probably because you did something good. And here's what I mean by that. You tried to be vulnerable. Usually. And did it go perfectly? Did you get the best response? Did you get the best thing? Maybe not. So we beat up ourselves and we don't realize sometimes other people are not easy to talk to. They're not the easiest to relate to. And you have to give yourself a lot of grace when it comes to practicing social interactions. When you come from, like you said, honey, when you said, disassociation, complex trauma, neglect, coming from all those things, you're still getting out of survival mode is basically what happens. And I think everything, compassionate witness of grace, learn to react with compassion and grace, meaning that you start the after the conversation, you're like, I should have said this. I should have said that. Whoa, stop. I gave it my best. I gave it my best. Right. Then as you're kind, you can start learning over time. Oh, hey, I think I'll overtalk a little bit. Or here's one that I realized. I tried too hard. I try to have the answer. I try to fix. When I stopped fixing, my conversations went a lot better because I would not answer as much. I wouldn't have to give something. Just, okay.
Right. Putting pressure on yourself to have the right answers. Because I know even for me, having felt like, because I can relate to what this person is saying, especially too when, let's say it's your young child. And I know for me, shamed myself and beat myself up so much for making wrong decisions, saying what I perceived as stupid things. Why'd you say that? You're stupid. So now I come into my grown-up life of a wife and a mother, and my kids are asking my advice. You're asking my advice, and I go, oh my gosh, I need to get it right. I need to get it right. And you freeze.
Correct.
And then you're overanalyzing yourself because now you're like, wait, no, I'm awake to this now. I want to get it right. And we have so much self-pressure on us.
The first thing that was helpful for you and I was first being okay with awkward silence, because you and I would try to fill it in when you're talking with somebody.
I still have a hard time with that. I'm not gonna lie.
I hear you.
I do.
Yeah, that's there's a sense of like learning to, as you're composing your thoughts or you're trying to respond, where you don't always have to have the quick. And sometimes it's an awkward silence, and be okay with that. Then there is that we don't have to answer every fix it kind of thing. We don't have to address every disturbance. And then you and I have talked a lot about the post game analysis, kind of using that analogy, where it's like, no, don't do that. Don't beat up.
Yeah.
Don't beat up. And
I say amazing things back to the person after. Like, I have awesome answers after the fact.
Right. Yeah. And
that's where I'm a really good assistant. Like after the fact of
yeah, and I realized that post it's an unfriendly, unloving response. So just to kind of gently go, it's all right. I don't have to fix that conversation right now. And then it goes, yeah, but this, okay. And if that's what happened, that's where acceptance comes into play. Okay, well, if I came across weird, then I came across weird. Yeah, but then they think you're a weirdo. Then they think I'm a weirdo.
That's right.
When you accept that, and you lessen the pressure.
Right.
Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry. Dave wrote George Costanza, the jerk store called.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
goodness.
Seinfeld is the whole show is all OCD.
All OCD.
Yeah, yeah, it's all 100%. The whole show. It's funny watching it. It's not funny living in it.
Right. Right.
All right. So, did I at least kind of, or was there anything else I could address in that?
No.
Okay.
No.
I got
You have another one?
a few more.
Nice.
Hi, Mark and Melissa. I want to first say thank you so much for the insights you guys share on a consistent basis. It's helped me in numerous ways. I truly thank God for you guys. Now to the hard stuff. An inferiority complex has plagued my heart for as long as I can remember. While no one has ever verbally and specifically told me that I was inferior, I've been through immense pain from situations that I guess I've interpreted subconsciously to mean I'm small, weak, and able to be walked all over since people have done it. I know that this is absolutely not true. I refuse to be a victim. And so I find victory occasionally from this mindset, but it's short-lived. This is like a self versus self. It's like an unworthiness, self-rejection kind of thing, which many of us have to work through in our journey. Most of us, I should say. It feels, I know I can overcome it, but it feels extremely hard to do. I'm nervous about how I'll be if I'm set free from it, right? Isn't that something that we have? We want to be free, but we're actually afraid of freedom. That's a whole subject in itself, which is probably why I end up falling back into it. It's something I'm comfortable with despite hating the feeling, right? What it is it's a war of you against you, and there's a struggle when you leave it because freedom is unfamiliar. The toxic pollution is bad for you, but you're used to it. And this applies to a lot of things. It applies to relationships. We stay in bad relationships because we're used to it, even though we know there's better for us, but we stay in it because it's what we're used to. We stay in old thoughts, even though we should step into new ones, but it feels so fearful and unfamiliar to step into new territory. Love is the ingredient that's needed. Mm-hmm. And so that's the message of God loves me and I love myself. Nonetheless, I still feel small compared to literally everyone around me. I can see the effects of this inferiority complex of my life. It prevents me from stepping forward and damages my relationship with myself and those around me. At some point, it wasn't so bad, but over the years, this feeling of inferiority has become a lot stronger. I'm over it. When I do take a step forward despite it, I rejoice since I've pushed through it. But I end up retracting and not taking another step forward for a while again until I feel victory from it. Because I think of myself as small, lacking a voice, and inadequate. I think other people see me like that, and thus I begin to act that way. I simply feel, I simply feel less than at times. It makes me jealous of others, overcompensate to feel better. All I could do is cry sometimes because I feel like a mouse amid lions. Oh, how do I overcome this? This is what I'll say. Read my book from beginning to end. Go slowly through it. Don't hurry. In fact, none of my books are meant to be hurried through. Go through it and write me back again, because that really is what the book will address. You said, is there a deeper work that's needed?
Wait, babe, can you put this one's for tagging purposes? Put the question that you read.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, words.
Before that one. Yeah, thank you. Because as I do my assistant job, I need to be able to do it properly. Thank you.
Okay, so okay. Before I play this, before I read this, I gotta play just a portion of this. Okay, ready? Oh, hold on. Let me put the volume up. Okay, I gotta set the mood for this question.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in the mood?
All right.
Okay.
I'm in the mood.
Okay, I gotta set the mood for this. Okay, and I may have to. Oops, sorry. I may have to go back to this track. Hey, Mark. To get straight to the point, my girlfriend is still watching content from a music group that includes a celebrity crush she used to have before we got together.
All right, let's get to this question.
There's a sharp pain in my chest when she tells me she still watches that content. Boy band material.
I need to know a boy band. I need to know how to really analyze this.
Yeah. This is bringing us back to the 90s and early 2000s. It might sound goofy to others, especially non-Christians, as it's so normalized. But I can't help but think this crush brought her feelings of nurture, comfort, and attraction before our relationship, and perhaps still. I've never been unfaithful, even emotionally, the whole relationship. Okay, so this is a, if you want to call it, this is like OCD jealousy.
Because I have questions. If this person was here, I have some questions. Is this a perceived, I need to understand. Is he just jealous that she likes listening to them? Is he thinking that I need to understand how this is manifesting in her. But I'm going to let you finish in case there's more context.
Okay, so here's the vibe I'm getting from this question.
Okay.
Because you're inflaming something that doesn't need to be inflamed, because every girl can remember some guy she had a crush on. Mm-hmm. And every guy could remember a girl that he crushed on or whatever, thought was pretty or whatever. And you have a singer that you liked, and when that song comes on, you have these emotions and these feelings. Mm-hmm. Is it directly towards the singer? Could be, but it's also with that time
of their life. Yep. I was going to say that.
I'll be honest. I listen to like music that's played nowadays, and I'm like, I don't get it. And then I hear a jam from the 90s, and I'm like, oh, that's what's up.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you and I just watched the what's it called, babe?
Well, we all have eras in our life. Mm-hmm. That's why people who are boomers, you play a song from the 60s, and they're right there. Or Gen X, you play songs like in the 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s, and you hit a certain place in your age where there's like a peak of musical interest. Then it then you kind of move into, this new music, these kids these days, you start to move a little bit into that.
Yeah. Let me tell you, what song does this for me? Everybody know Christopher Cross, the song Sailing. I don't know what it is about that song. As soon as the violin or whatever, it starts to enter into the song, I want to just start crying. Mm-hmm. It's connected to something. I don't know what it is. I love the song.
Is it too churchy if I bring up a Carmen song will do that for me?
Oh my gosh. I have like trauma with Carmen because I tried to use Carmen. Yes, Dave Jenkins, Takes Me Away. Yes, great song.
Yeah. So okay, let's establish this because
Okay.
first of all, we all have that we have musical references of certain things that made us feel a certain way. Music has a way of making you feel certain comfort, certain excitement, and when you have that imprint, it kind of hangs with you. So the picture that I'm getting here is this is really being blown up, which OCDers do that. They blow up things that they don't need to. Because I think especially as a man, if you work through it and go, okay, I feel this feeling, I'm not going to feed it, I'm being obsessive about it, it'll help you as a man to approach the relationship more confidently. Otherwise, if you feed it and compulsively overtalk it and you analyze it, it's going to feed more. And you're going to read into more. Oh, she talked to this person at work. Maybe something's there. And it'll lead you to start hovering over things. Because the message I'm getting here is in the question, you write this sentence, I've never been unfaithful, even emotionally, the whole relationship. This is perfectionism within OCD. It's like she acts weird when this song happens. I, however, never have been anything. There's always this pushing in of I do things just right.
Right.
Okay. And this is the Christian perfectionism, just right mindset that I am constantly confronting. So it causes you to read into this more because I wonder, unless she's showing overt patterns of inappropriateness, but I don't see that here. And I don't see you communicating that here. I see you seeing, and she loves that. What would it look like if you just laughed it off and go, I feel a little weirdness, it's okay, and just laugh at it? Okay, that she enjoys listening to that song. I wonder what would happen for that to even die out and it no longer even becomes a problem. And then it gets put into perspective. So, okay, it hurts me because I'm giving my all to her. Okay, see, this is the buildup of you. You are so amazing in how much you love her. But look at her. She watches the Backstreet Boys and likes Nick Carter or whatever.
No,
right?
but, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have to recognize this because this is what I'm reading in here. I don't think she watches or cares about it as much as she used to, but even hearing her tell me she watched it for an hour hurts. Okay? See, this is very, this is out of context. This is overboard. Also, even if she has no feelings for the dude, okay, it still makes me uncomfortable. So, right?
Yeah.
So now you know this is distorted. And she voluntarily watches content that's designed to attract women. Yes, I get that, but you're
Probably more to
this
do
is
with,
this is distorted, out of context. I don't plan on saying anything for a while. Good idea. As I want to figure out where I can grow first, find areas where problem isn't the problem, and maturely practice grace and compassion. Yeah. So your practice is you're gonna have to have moments of,
hey now, yeah. Let me tell you something. Mark and I watched the Netflix documentary on, oh my goodness, it's menopause.
oh,
everybody.
the documentary.
The documentary on We Are the World.
Yeah. It was interesting.
I cried like 3 times. Okay. It just brought me, it was that time.
And
you're
you
seeing
are
all the stars. I connect.
Yeah,
Listen.
when you hear an 80s song.
Oh, I could weep like a baby.
Yeah. It connects you to time period in your life. And
I love it.
And it's also, this is what it's helpful too, not to get too deep into this. It's also helpful because when you feel those feelings, it can also help you to reparent some of those areas of childhood.
Yeah.
Those areas where you and I are both healing. We remember those times and it helps you to look at it compassionately. You know, you kind of remember what it was like at that time. Remember, and now that you're older, you look back, right? Just saying. It's helpful. So anyways, long story short, she's a great woman of God. She's worth working through this with. Then work through it. Work through it. And don't take yourself so seriously. You're taking yourself too seriously.
I think the person may be in the chat and hold on. Am I right? I'm not going to say your name, honey, but hold on.
By the way, would love an episode on dating. This was sent.
Thanks, Mark. I think I was just connecting to the unfaithfulness. I'm just going to dance to the music now. Wait, if that's the person, is the person's name on there? I can tell you if it's them or not. Give me the paper.
No, it's all right.
Oh.
It's all right. I'll move on. Let me see here. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, I said I wouldn't say I envy the dude, but I'm working through a little jealousy that she might be emotionally liking the person.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that there is a form of OCD member can get into anything, and so it could invade, and it's a call for you as a man grow in security as who you are, unless there is a very overt, very concerning pattern of inappropriate interactions.
Right.
But even then, calmly, with compassion and grace, walk through it. Otherwise, it's going to create this heavy overreaction that's not going to allow you to have wisdom in navigating through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just grateful that my soundboard has made it this far.
Yeah, we are super excited.
Here
this is awesome.
comes a miracle.
Because you throwing in, you're so good at that too, of where to throw in the voices. It's just, I miss it. You haven't done the Kmart shopper aisle thing. That's a
you're
good
right.
one too.
Yeah, I want to find.
You got to get comfortable. You need to get comfortable that it's like really here to stay.
Yeah, I got to be comfortable. First of all, that God's going to be with me.
When he speaks,
Right.
he'll be with me.
And I got to tune that a little bit more because that doesn't sound exactly like God. I got to get that. But yeah, you talking about this one? Yeah, attention.
Like aisle 700.
Attention, all 20-somethings. Moving out is in aisle right now.
That's the self-checkout, actually.
Yes!
That was funny. I made it funny. Yay!
Yes. Yep. Excellent.
Your assistant's got jokes today. Okay.
Let's see.
Any other good ones? Boo?
Yeah, I didn't super check this one. I just kind of skim them through just to
Here, put this in the thing so that. Please, thank you.
Make sure I'm not going to accidentally read swears or something.
I know.
But yeah, to the last one, it looks like you're going to have to. Your exposure therapy is listen to some boy band songs
Exactly.
for a little bit until you.
All 80s or 90s music is yeah.
I've been watching your video. For. Let me get to the long story short. I've been dealing with relationship OCD for the past 2 years now. I just wanted to hear your advice and feedback to get through something I'm currently dealing with now. I tend to question how I feel or act towards encounters with the opposite gender. In the past, I almost lost my relationship because I was messaging with people I was not supposed to during my relationship. Yeah, okay. Fair enough, right? I believe I have built so much trauma, and that perfectionism you talk about is definitely something I experience. I had an encounter over a month ago with a friendly guy, and I was just being neutrally nice. There was no flirting or anything that could make me lose my relationship. Although nothing riskful happened. Is riskful a word? Wouldn't it be risky? Riskful. Nothing riskful happened. Within myself, I feel so guilty because I feel like it was wrong for me to even be nice to a friendly guy. Makes me feel unfaithful when I was just being nice, but just being around a friendly guy makes me feel weirded out and distressful. I'm not sure if I'm genuinely scared, but I tend to criticize myself for it. I spoke to my partner. Here it goes. My partner.
We've addressed this, people.
I'm gonna get my alarm out now with partner. Or I should just say
you should beep. Like my beep.
I did not know I was going to have this much fun today.
Thank goodness that I came over here.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I spoke to my and she says she says to move on.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah. Yeah, it's confusing because I don't know who's who, right?
I'm right.
So
exactly.
Anyways, but
we should make it a thing now. If you have partner anywhere in your emails, we're not reading it. We need to clearly know, especially because names can be male or female. We need to understand, and since we don't say names in the broadcast, we need to understand: is it your wife?
Right.
Is it your husband? Is it your soon-to-be?
Right. And I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, wait, is this a guy writing to me? Is this, I don't know the people writing to me. I don't know who this.
The Dream Detective said synonyms for partners are in aisle 7.
Yes, aisle 7 right now. The Dream Detective will meet you all back over there.
He'll help you figure it out. He's going to help you figure it out.
Anyone using the term partner, Dream Detective will meet you in aisle 7. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Dave Jenkins said, so is his ERP to watch Family Ties because his wife likes Michael J.
David, you're on fire.
He's so funny.
You're on fire, bro. My wife liked Kirk Cameron too. I can't watch anything.
I had Kirk Cameron had that permed bi level back then too.
You love bringing that up.
I do. I always do. I have to throw that in there. Do you have any more? Or are you good?
Do you
Let me see. I can't see it.
This is the one.
I can't see it. Hold, please. Let me just look.
Might be a little bit more lengthy. Maybe I'll save that for another time.
Yeah, why don't we?
Yeah.
I think so.
Any other questions in the super chat?
I don't see any super chats.
We do have to wind down.
Everyone's being funny.
This was a lot of fun.
It actually was.
Yeah, I had a good time. Mm-hmm. Dream Detective, thank you for your work in aisle 7.
Mm-hmm. Dave Jenkins, thank you for your comedic
Wait a second.
addition.
Wait a second. I just scanned this quickly.
What?
The Dream Detective says Papa San actually came and performed at the Christian store I worked at. He has a lot of that's 80s, right? Yeah, that's 80s.
No way.
Any upcoming episodes on dating or engagement? Yeah, go back to my Grace for the Single Person. That's an important episode to go through that. This is good, folks. I had a great time here, and thanks for being here with me.
Thank you.
Please like and subscribe. That helps us out here. And you can go to markdacers.com, click the donate button to send in support of any kind. No pressure, but as you feel led out of generosity. And if you want to take a deeper investment in your journey, we have the Healing and Freedom Community, where I'm teaching right now on the OCD healing journey, which you can get a copy of. Many of you have even relationship OCD. I'm going to be doing some focused work on that subject in the coming months ahead. But we love you guys. We appreciate this. We had a great time, and we look forward to more. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. This is your brother from another mother.
And your sister from another mister.
Saying we'll be back with more insights for your healing and freedom journey. But in the meantime,
we out.
Misa cover me
Under the blood.